Welcome back to the LCS Challengers League. I am Mazel, joined by Magical and Joshi yet again after a feels like the tried and true version of what we've seen already today happening in game number 1 of our second series, where the provisional team, they come out with some strong showings, at least in the first half of the game, but it is when it comes down to the late game decisions, the organization around objectives, things like that. Even though it was a pain point for FlyQuest coming to this one, they showed out true here, Joshi.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? These two teams in particular have been struggling to find wins. I believe their only wins between CLG Faith and FlyFam are against each other.
Yep.
And so we are still looking for their opportunity to take wins against some of the stronger teams, but I mean, that's one of the big differences that we're going to be looking for, right? Can they take games not off of the strongest of the challenger teams, but can they start to crack their way into the middle of the pack a little bit? So I think we saw some things to be excited about, but it's still, as Alex has constantly reminded us, it's not about the wins entirely for them. It's seeing how they grow over the course of the season.
And the fact that they were able to bring out, the Serenog Xerath. We also had Aaron stealing away the Baron.
Woo.
Oh,
And
man,
Sketch
it was a lot of
Sketch
fun.
had some pretty decent plays on the Alistar as well. They got the 2v2 bottom lane.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit of a recap for this game number 1. But now we got our halftime bit. We got to have a little bit of fun before we send these casters on their way to cast another game. So we've got another episode of 2 Truths and a Lie. I have chosen 4 players, 2 from each side, so it gives you a little hint on that one, where I have chosen 3 statements. One of them is a lie, 2 of them are truths about these players. And you guys are going to have to guess which one is the lie. So the first player we have...
A.
Yes.
A.
Rin.
Are you done?
No.
I'm guessing. It's A.
It's no. So first player we have, not a fan of traditional sports, is Yuji. Yuji is our first player on the docket. He's not a fan of traditional sports. He is Mongolian, and was originally playing on Bethany Lutheran when he came over.
I was right. It's A.
It is A.
It is A. Good job.
Hey, you said it was no. I was right.
So,
I thought
but
he
do
was
you
a
know
big
why?
basketball fan.
Do you know why? So he is a big basketball fan, but he also likes to play and watch volleyball. So pretty
Do you know
cool
if it's
stuff.
beach volleyball or court volleyball?
Just says volleyball, my friend.
Volleyball. Okay, well, we will have to ask him
All the
about that one.
volleyballs. All right.
All I
the
care is that I
volleyballs.
got my answer right before you even said anything.
All right. So first, it was Yuji. Now we're gonna move on to Aaron, our newcomer in the bottom lane.
C.
For CLG. We got to look at has met Volleybear in real life. That's the first one. Has met Volleybear in real life, which is important. Collegiate player. Aaron was a collegiate player. Also has 1 competitive pentakill. Which one of those is the lie, and which 2 are the truth?
I'm gonna stick with my
Do we
guns.
get
I'm gonna
any
go
more
C.
context on the first one?
No.
Has
I'm
met
sticking
Volleyball?
with C.
Has met Volleybear
I'm sticking
in
with
real
C.
life.
It is such a vague statement that I'm gonna have to agree with Magical. Like I don't know what that means.
Wait, so you
so I
think
can't
he
say
has
it's
had
wrong.
more than 1 pentakill? Or less
0.
than 1 pentakill?
Yeah, I think it's
right.
not exactly 1.
All right. Well, you are both wrong, my friends.
Was it the Volleybear thing?
It was the Volleybear.
What is that?
Technically, it was a lie.
Okay.
He took a picture with a polar bear at the zoo. So yeah,
See, I was
Volleybear
wondering
in real life.
if you would count that, or if there was like a volleyball cosplayer.
I was
Just
going with like a
it could
cosplay.
mean like anything.
It was a literal bear that he took a picture with. You can find it on his Twitter. So you're wrong, Magical. Huh? What you gotta say now? Huh?
E.
Nothing. That's what I thought. All right, we're gonna. Jeez. All right, we're gonna move on. That was Yuji. That was Aaron. We're gonna move on to our next player in Sketch, the newly transitioned to support bot laner for CLG Faith. Now he used to play ADC. No way,
Whoa.
Shocker there.
I know,
A
right?
favorite animal is a cow, and also has a pet cow. So which one of those 3 will be that lie that we're looking
It
for?
has to be B. Anyone who actually has a pet cow does not really like
Wait,
cows.
B was favorite animal is a cow.
Yeah. If you have a cow, there's no way it's your favorite animal. I've been around.
Wait,
those
that's
things
so
enough.
mean to cows. Okay.
Yeah, okay, it's probably C. that they probably don't. I don't know. Where's Aaron from? He's from St. Louis.
That's
He
where he
might
does it,
actually
yeah.
have a cow. Yeah.
That's what he
There's
does
no
it.
way he likes cows that
I'm
much.
gonna. I mean, I already said B to begin with, so I have to stick
All
with my
right.
guns.
Well, you're both wrong. His favorite animal is a cow. He said that to me at the end when I was asking favorite animals. He said,
I
"Can
have
I
to stick
say
with my
cow?"
guns,
And I was like, "Of course you can, because cows are animals, not exotic." Does not have a pet cow. Does not. Has an adorable
Those
pet
two
cat.
things are in
Please.
fact mutually exclusive.
Yes, they are. Please go check out his cat. It's actually adorable. I was looking through all the pictures on Twitter. I got lost for like 5 minutes just looking through them. So.
All right.
Go check out Sketch's Twitter. We're going to move on to the last player here. The last player we have is Masu. You know we had to put a little bit of focus on the bottom lane.
I'm going to stick with
So
B.
it is. Favorite ice cream is lemon. All right. Favorite ice cream is lemon. If he could be any animal, it would be an eagle.
Okay.
Long-standing veteran of the semi-pro scene. Those are the three. So favorite ice cream is lemon. If you could be any animal, it would be an eagle. And the long-standing veteran.
Huh.
What do you mean by
no
long-standing? Are you talking about like more than 3 years?
It's vague
what
enough
is
that
a
it must be
long-standing
true.
veteran?
It's vague
Right.
enough that it must be true.
I know
So-
that's the problem I have with it. It's like it's like what?
I mean, I want to guess eagle is probably true because that's like a fairly common thing is wanting to be some
People
kind of
want to
bird
be
of prey.
eagles? Is
But
that like a
I
normal
have-
Really wanna be
conversational point
eagles?
for you? Is that
You know,
that's
when
something you
when
bring
you're
up in everyday
5,
conversation?
Yeah, you know, when you're 5,
I'm
you wanna
changing
be
my
an
answer to
eagle.
C.
Are
I'm
we
changing it
5?
to C. I'm changing
We
it
are
to C.
5. I'm going to go with A. I don't think he likes lemon ice cream.
All right. Well, Joshi, you are wrong. Magically, you are correct. He is not a
What?
long-standing veteran
What does that
in the
mean?
semi-pro
I know.
scene.
That's like I was going with a guess on that one because I'm like,
Because
it's
he literally
too vague.
just started competitive last year on Team Pending, at least in terms of record keeping. So, not long-standing. Just started last year. It already
Okay,
popping off
Lennon.
here for FlyQuest.
Okay,
so.
Lennon.
Hey, I got him.
know.
Got him. All right. But he does want to be an eagle. Shout-outs to Emily.
Yes, question.
Shout-outs to Emily, by the way, with the facts for him for the favorite ice cream being lemon. You do not see that often.
I was about to say,
I'm just
I've
gonna
never
say.
seen lemon ice cream. I've seen
I've
like
seen it, but it's
no,
not.
no, no.
You've
I've
seen it. I've
like,
seen it exist.
Gelato. I've seen like gelato, but I don't consider that like ice cream. That's
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I do have some gelato in my freezer. I'm going to go.
Hey,
Oh
you're
my
welcome.
goodness.
It's
There we go.
synergy. Pass
So-
your synergy.
There's our two truths and a lies segment. We had Aaron, Yuji, Sketch, and Masu, and had a little bit of fun with the casters as well. But I do want to hone back into this series. Obviously, we already set up the differing expectations for both teams, but I'd like to see a little bit of emphasis on that early game power and some of those plays we got to see from CLG Faith, Joshi.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see NXI have a better early game, right? And getting invaded early on the Udyr, I feel like if you're going to be picking this Udyr, it needs to be something where you are using it as a counter pick. It's not something where you can very easily blind for the exact reason that we saw. If you lose priority, Udyr loses a ton of jungle. If you don't have any strength early on in the jungle, Udyr doesn't do a whole lot later in the game.
And I love to see that variation of picks, but yeah, you see a little bit of that consistency. I know you're maybe, chomping at the bit here, Magical, talk about the Udyr, but is there anything for you, especially for CLG Faith, that you want to see kind of differ going in the next game?
I think just stronger lanes. I don't mind the Udyr personally. I think the problem was the fact that lane phase just there's not much they can do. Ezreal Alistar against a Varus. Varus is just going to keep him pinned down for the first few levels. And that's exactly what we saw UG take advantage of. Like, hey, they have literally no priority to back up NXI. Why don't I just go and fight him?
Yep, I believe that is going to be a nice little ticket for them to try to find something. I wonder if we get the Serenox Aerith again. Maybe we get his Zoe. Maybe we'll pull out something a little bit crazy in the mid lane. But do you want to see any cleanups in that early part of the game here for FlyQuest Challengers, especially, Joshi?
Yeah, I mean, we already said I would love to see UG used at level 6 a little bit more aggressively in order to create opportunities for the team, because with the loss of Tomo Diamond and the replacement of Masu and Kitong, who have been doing quite well in the bottom lane, they've lost some of the strongest voices, and so that'll still be their big thing, is can they continue to make plans? Will they look for these good flanks? Will Masu be allowed to be a flanking Varus again?
Well, we'll see whose voices are the loudest, and if Masu gets that flanking Varus. We are ready for game number 2 of this series, so take it away, guys.
Alrighty, let's get into this game. Let's see how both of them will answer from the break. Whether we get some growth coming in from CLG Faith, what they want to fix, especially in the early game, or if we see FlyQuest challengers say, you know what, we did make those mistakes early. As long as we fix those, it's going to be a dominant performance against a provisional team.
Yeah, and so as we continue to see FlyQuest kind of move forward, again, we're not expecting a whole lot of really exciting things to be coming out of this draft. If they do, they will probably be coming out from CLG Faith, like the Udyr, or maybe Sketch, going back towards like the Pyke, which we have been seeing a little bit on. Players like Rovex, I think, have been some of the biggest Pyke proponents recently. But again, on this new patch, in particular, 13.1b, there's been a lot of changes. It pulled a lot of power out of the top lane and put it right into the AD carry role. And so, whereas Philip and Bajani are still going head-to-head, having a lot of opportunity to be very strong crit marksmen will give Masu and Aaron lots of opportunities to kind of show off.
And we're seeing no adaptation at the moment for either team, and bans or picks, as still going for that Udyr for NXI. Okay. Aaron back onto Ezreal. He did look good on the Ezreal. I'll give him that. It was just the fact that it's a difficult lane phase against something like Varus that can constantly poke you out in the lane phase and pin you under that turret.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of these things where I would love to see Sketch on something that can actually have a little bit more lane presence early on than what we saw from the Alistar, right? You just don't have a ton of play, especially into the Nautilus, who will be determining a lot of fights. And Spyrax just says, yeah, you know, we had a good game last time, let's just pick up the Akali. You cannot play Xerath into this one.
Nope, saying that was, I mean, let's be honest, that was definitely an issue. Of all the lanes, that probably was one of the stronger ones that CLG Faith did have. So now Spyrax is like, okay, we don't want to have to deal with that this time around. We want to make it even easier for UG to completely own the jungle, which then brings up the point of looking at Serenok and his champion pool, tending to like to play more of these control mages, something that can do okay in the lane phase, but you're making that face because it's the exact face that I'm making where it's like, but what do you do about level 6?
I mean, what do you do about level 3? I mean, that's the problem with the Victor into the Akali is if Spyrax ever lands a Shuriken flip, like, oh yeah, I've gotten solo killed in this lane so many times just because I don't dodge out on the E, and there's just so much damage coming out from the Akali early on. So Serenok has a very tough task ahead of him, taking a tough matchup into what a lot of people are excited about as one of the stronger mid laners that we have in the league. If Serenok survives this lane, that's a massive win, but it's going to need to come off the back of NXI creating pressure. And what we will be looking at in particular is if Serenok can pull his wave towards his side of the map early on, that will be a big win coming out from CLG Faith because you will not have to worry about the mid lane collapsing.
At the moment, we're seeing no adaptations in the ban still, even in the second part. Jace Fiora aimed at Philip, Cassante still open, which I would expect to be the pick for Bajani, which would then put Philip back onto Gnar.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Gwen is also something that Philip has been known to play in that situation, but very similar draft in a lot of ways. I'm just so worried about this self-counter pick coming out from Serenok, right? It's a champion that has been very popular, but is not necessarily at the strongest that it's been, especially in comparison to last year. And as we take a look at what happened to the top lane, again, Philip just came out on top in the Gnar, right? Philip has been one of these players that optimizes quite a bit for laning and the side lane, and it's been tough for Bajani to really try and interact with a lot of these stronger top laners.
So just waiting for that, and then we gotta figure out what Keetong wants to play. Honestly, I don't even know if you change it. That Nautilus worked fine.
Fine?
Yeah, it gave engage. It also made it easy for you to follow up onto some of these more mobile members, such as Aaron, as long as you can point-click depth charge on top of him. So we get that locked in, and I'm still expecting that Gnar for Philip. I'm only expecting the adaptations, really, for either team to be the mid lane and possibly Sketch's support.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you, as somebody who's been in this situation plenty of times before, the conversation there is like, well, what do we want to play in the top lane, right? It's like, well, we definitely want the Nautilus. Just lock that in, and it'll give us time to talk. Okay, yeah, we're going back with what we wanted in the first place. And so this is technically different because it's in a different order, but they're in the same phase. And so on the other side of the map, one of the big things that I would love to see Sketch actually bring out is the Leona, just because it is something that is so strong into Nautilus. They do a lot of similar things. It gives you playmaking tools, and you oftentimes just stat check the Nautilus because you do more damage a lot of the time. We've been seeing a lot of different hovers coming out from them, right? We've been seeing the Amumu, the Alistar, the Morgana. These all make sense in a similar spot, but now we're looking at another situation where they don't have any long-range tools to get fights started. whenever Sketch actually goes for one of these engages, he needs to be right up in their face from Fog of War or coming from a flank.
Granted, this time around, doesn't have to worry about getting chipped out as much as beforehand, because Spyrex is not on that Izir. Makes it a little bit easier to actually get on top of everyone, to split up the fight, since most of them are melee and want to dive into your backline. The only one you really are going to have to contend against is going to be Varus.
Yeah, and going up against Varus, right, it is going to be a very telling whether Masu chooses to go for the lethality poke style Varus, or if they choose to go for more of a crit-oriented Varus, which has become better now that we are playing on 13.1b, right? You get the access to Navori Quick Blades faster, and you just have tons of spells to be throwing out if you do choose to play that way. So, CLG Faith, they're not out of the woods from this one just quite yet. Still looking to pick up their second win of the season, going up against FlyQuest Challengers, who are continuing to improve their ability to actually make plans in this game.
And when it comes to a provisional versus challengers team, for the most part, we are looking to see how these players can grow if you're on a provisional team. And then for the challengers, it's how clean of gameplay can they play against their opposition, making sure they control every aspect of the game. As right now, both of them loaded up onto the Rift, line of scrimmage set up. Nothing fun for me to talk about.
Bad. Sorry about that, Alex. But as we do get into this one a little bit more, we've talked a fair amount about the AD carries, but we also, one of the things that we had written now is we do want to say that this is a team matchup where Philip can really kind of pop off, right? They did some, some cool things. They got a couple of solo kills. They were kind of preyed upon by NXI and Bajani a little bit, but this is going to be another opportunity for Philip to create a lot of pressure. They showcased that they had a better understanding of the lane in the first game, and if Philip can take things over, like we saw them do with the Fiora up against Cloud9 previously, one of the things that we want to see from Philip is step up, create pressure, be strong, and then also be able to turn that advantage into a win.
Also, I do want to kind of mention something, because we didn't get to talk about this before. This series is actually being played on the Chicago servers. So that would explain a lot of why Matsu was able to have such great reactions last game.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing in, like, Toronto, right? Somewhere in Canada?
Yeah. So Chicago's a lot closer than LA.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, for them, for not for us.
But we will see how well that actually affects any of these games. I know CLG Faith would definitely prefer that with a lot of their players also in the Midwest. And now, here we go, just fighting right off the bat.
Nice pull, but going to be the back and forth. Still going to be that control we saw last game with the bot lane of FlyQuest Challengers. Utilizing the Varus poke, especially. You just have just the simple headbutt, a little bit of poke from a Q from Aaron. I'm not expecting to see too many changes to how these lane states favor, especially when we look at most of them being the exact same. Only one real difference being the fact that Yuji did not look for an early invade, because I like this pathing, the adaptation from NXI, buff to buff.
Yeah, buff to buff, starting with the Tiger stance to just rip things apart, or it's called the Bear stance now, right?
It's confusing. They changed that to the Bear stance, and the Bear stance to Ram stance.
It is what it is. But anyway, like, NXI has a lot of that single target damage, doing all three of the single target camps back to back to back in order to potentially look for an opportunity bottom lane. But they see the giant wave and they're like, nah, I don't think that's what we're going to be looking for. But look at this, they're not doing a good job thus far of doing a lot of damage.
I also like Bajani getting a good trade against Philip here. Really was battling over that level 2 priority so that he was going to be the one in control of the initial parts of the lane phase, which give more opportunity to NXI. This has taken away some of the wind of the sails of the early game Yuji had gotten from last game. So now he's got to go back to the drawing board and see what else they can get. Looks like mid lane with Keatung already rotating up. It's going to be the play. Nice flash though, so he's able to get out of dodge.
That will create plenty more space as Serenok completely out of mana at this point. Not even a single spell, and FlyQuest, they have Yuji and Keatung moving towards the top side of the map just to double check and see if NXI is around, but not going to be contesting over the Rift Herald at all. Does mean that Keatung can back away and then head back towards the bottom lane.
Props to Serenok. Might be low on mana, but it's also Victor, and I feel like a lot of people think, oh, Victor's got no mana. He's easy to kill. And then he's able to still get off his laser pointer and his Q, and you're like, wait, but why?
Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of upfront burst damage, but he doesn't have the same kind of like staying power as a lot of other laners. And so far, Spyrex still has access to their potion, so not even worried about the damage that Serenok can put out in terms of killing. And so, look at this. Instead, it's Sketch coming around the bottom.
Looking for a play. I mean, to answer Keetong having rotated up as well, but there's not really much mana. That's going to be the shuriken flip. Getting a lot of damage with the Fine Point Strike. Spyrex tries to get away, but here comes a flash away from Spyrex because he saw the Ram charging.
Yeah, people coming in and doesn't want to get stunned up because then you will actually go down. But the bottom side, Aaron's also doing a good job at making sure that they can farm in this 1v2 lane.
Serenok now got to be careful. Here comes the charge again from the Ram.
Roar.
More just saying, hey, you're not diving my mid laner. You're not killing him underneath this tower like I know you're able to.
Yeah, and so far, Serenok, I mean, because they're completely and have not had a chance to back away just quite yet, Spyrex doing a good job as we see a hook land.
But it's on to Sketch. Not really the prime target you want to pull. That's why they back off. Nothing too fanciful still. NXI is getting a lot easier of a jungle time this time around. Hey, okay, so Found by Faith.
Wow.
130k on CLG. All right, Axeman, you know what?
All right, respect it.
If Axeman gets this right, I hope everyone in chat just absolutely spams at Axeman.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever played with Axeman?
I have, yes.
It is one of the most interesting experiences. It's like playing with you.
I was about to say, it's kind of normal if you ask me.
Oh, God, that's a horrifying thought to see both of you guys in the same game. But look at this. Yuji is sticking around. Bajani looking for the 1v1.
Looking for the fight. He's got level 6 against Philip. But Philip with the Rage Bar starting to tick up. No knowledge of where the support in the jungle are. We're looking to the bot lane. It's going to be the pull on NXI. But look at Keetong. He is low. The shield is not enough. First blood picked up the cow as they try to fight back. Here's Spyrex in the bot lane. Looking for the shuriken flip. Perfect execution under the turret. They get the snipe for the double kill out of Masu. Aaron, the next casualty. Triple kill for Masu.
Triple kill. The 150 ping warrior comes through with 3 kills in that 3v3.
He ain't got that ping no more, Josh. He's got an easy
He's only like 60 today. He gets to play as easily as he wants. Spyrex comes down. They get the full cleanup and doesn't even lose the entire wave. Suddenly, we're looking at Masu, one of the players that we were very excited about as this young prospect, has so much control over the game. Also going for a lethal tempo style build. The crit is going to wake up so early on in this game, and NXI just doesn't expect the fact that Spyrex is already moving down. Masu able to do so much damage in this, but it's really just a matter of having more people. And also, Spyrex using the perfect execution at the end to just get a little bit more damage than Aaron was actually expecting without going too far underneath the turret.
The auto already mid-air from Masu, so even though Aaron had flashed away, it followed all the way to his eventual gravesite.
Just goes down. Now, Mountain Dragon going to be on the table. Spyrex and Keetong moving down to take a little bit more control of the bottom river.
So then we look at how FlyQuest can continue this power. There's good play there, getting all this gold onto Masu, but it's not like they're out of the woods just yet. CLG Faith, they still got plenty of avenues to fight back. When you look at how the CS is, NXI, you might have fallen, but he's still relatively even against Yuji. Bigger problem are the carries are starting to fall behind for CLG Faith. I'm looking at NXI and how he can make plays that not just try to answer what Yuji is doing, but are going to be more proactive.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to see how well that they will actually be able to be proactive in the upcoming game. But I also kind of want to look at, now that Masu is a bit of our main character for the game, just kind of look at their history that they've had playing with, especially Team Pending from last year, where they were playing alongside a lot of other collegiate stars like Porsche, Kitsuo, Robbie Bob, and Kim Down, who's now playing for TLC. But you know, even though they weren't necessarily one of the best teams that we had in the semi-pro atmosphere last year, they were consistently able to make it through all the different qualifiers, and they even had an opportunity to play in the last Proving Grounds where they ended up getting knocked out by 100 Thieves Next. But still, we had a lot of strong players, and it's very telling that both Kim Down and Masu have since moved up towards the challenger scene.
And you can see a lot of these games where Masu was one of those players that I think everyone just... He got overshadowed, right, by Philip and Yuji. But we're starting to see a lot more of why he's got to be a main character more consistently for the team. Even though the play here, top lane on Bajani, nice knockup to interrupt Yuji. And he flashes away, but he still dies 1v3 Bajani.
All right, that's pretty exciting, but Johnny actually turns that one around. Yuji uses the flash to get into a situation that they aren't able to get out of. And now CLG Faith, they're the ones who can potentially take away a ton of this bottom side of the map. They're at least responding yet again. I love the fact that NXI is not letting any play from UG go unpunished.
No, it's what you have to do. It's always about, like, sure, you have these reactionary plays. I'm still waiting for the proactivity of NXI, especially around Masu, because like you talked about, he is going to be the main character. Aaron, he had those moments of glory last time around, but they got to help him out, because right now, he's just getting completely dumpstered by Masu.
Yeah, rich get richer in this game. Kitang and Masu just blow up Aaron immediately. But you're saying that, like, NXI is a player that should be trying to make plays around Masu. I feel like it's a little bit too late at this point, right? And Udyr is not a character that can do it super well early on. And it's something that NXI has had a lot of experience on over the years. I kind of feel like this pick is a little bit odd considering the rest of the play that they have been going for, right? They really need NXI to be a playmaker for this team. And as this bottom lane turret falls, NXI can't do anything about it. He's just trying to pick up gold on the other side of the map.
Doing what he can. Let's stay ahead as we look mid lane. This is the problem. Akali versus Victor.
Huh.
You said level 3, I said level 6.
It's level
Combine
9.
them together, he's level 9.
Yeah, it is a very tough matchup, right? If you ever get hit by the Shuriken flip, you're basically going to have to flash, pretty much no matter what level it happens at. So the fact that this is the first time that this happened is actually pretty good for Serenok.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not going to get better.
No, it doesn't.
If that happens once now, it's going to happen every single time he shows up to lane against Akali. This is the issue that we foresaw in Champions League, isn't it, Josh? And when it comes to this game, it's not looking like the last game where there's those moments of glory that we could possibly see out of Faith. They are just absolutely losing every single lane. This is the clean gameplay we had to ask for FlyQuest challengers to bring against a provisional team.
Yeah, okay, hold on. NXI is going to buy an entire item here.
Let's watch.
I think.
Let's watch.
Oh my gosh. He's not?
No,
He hasn't left the base just
He's
quite
waiting.
yet. He has to be
He's
sitting on
waiting.
so much. Like, he was sitting on a ruby crystal before he actually backed.
Oh, he doesn't get it.
Oh my gosh, that's brutal. That's just how far ahead it feels like FlyQuest really are, because he was farming for so long.
All right, Pajani fights against Philip here. But guess what? It's not the party you think it is. It's a party on your grave.
Masu coming up towards the top side of the map. Bejani trying to make something happen, but it's just not quite enough. And this is the kind of more clinical style of play that we have not necessarily been attributing to FlyQuest specifically, but a lot of the Challengers teams have just been kind of running over a lot of our teams. And that's why we've been so excited about some of our other teams like Fear and Wildcard and AoE that are actually able to pick up games going up against the Challenger squad. And CLG Faith, unfortunately, even with the new blood coming in Aaron and Sketch moving down to their expected position, this game feels very, very over at this point. Masu, not even yet on a single item, but as soon as the second item comes out, when you get either the Navori or Infinity Edge, there's just going to be too much damage.
Uchi, he's fighting against Sketch, the cow. He's got to be a bit more cautious when fighting against the monkey. Because the monkey is a little bit more scary at this point. He can claw, he can bite and scratch the flash away, with Bajani trying to see if he can slash away the monkey. But unfortunately, it's an assassination on the other side from a ninja. Dashing back in with the shuriken flip, looking to pin back Aaron and NXI.
And they do a good job as well, cleaning up as many kills as they can. Now they have total control over NXI's jungle, and I feel like this one is only a matter of time, Magical, before this one closes itself out as well. There's no points of power left on the map for CLG Faith. Nobody on their team has a lead. And so, let's go back and kind of use our discussion that we had about Fly Fam. How do we feel CLG Faith is actually showing? Are there new signs of life that we weren't seeing before?
You're asking me this? In a 13.5-minute game where there's a 7,000 gold lead?
Oh, you had an entire other game.
The other game, for sure. Oh, yeah. Okay, if you're asking about the series, yes. Like, CLG Faith, we definitely are seeing them grow throughout the split. We're seeing those positions where they can play better, look for better plays. I feel like this one, they tried to run it back for the most part, but not having Serenok on Xerath or more of one of these artillery mages has put them in a bit of a difficult spot, especially against Spyrex on Akali.
Yeah.
We've seen how this matchup is going. Bot lane 2, 3 kills early for Masu, completely ended lane phase for Aaron and Sketch.
Oh yeah. I also kind of want to say, like, if this is your best answer to calling the mid lane is with a Victor, like, you're gonna have to broaden your champion pool, because that will not cut it. And now, Sketch.
He's gonna die. Same with Aaron. They can turn around 1 kill on the Keatong, but they're just diving freely underneath the dirt. Look at the damage that Monster was able to get onto the cow, even through his ult, waiting it out. All right, looks like Sketch will survive, but ultimately the play is still over to FlyQuest, looking for more. Serenok, I don't know where you were venturing, what journey you were on, but you and NXI are just getting chased down in enemy territory, which seems like familiar ones, but it's not.
So with that, we are basically at the point where the game has become a situation where FlyQuest is just going to be picking up every objective that they can. We'll see how quickly they actually close this one out. And
Josh, okay, look, I'm the optimistic one here, right?
You're optimistic? Okay.
I'm usually I'm usually optimistic.
Okay.
I'm usually optimistic. This is an FF15.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot left to kind of be looking at from this one. So let's give some praise to the players who have kind of earned it, right? Masu is one of these players that I think we have been most excited about, especially with how tough the situation that they've actually put themselves in. And, you know, now that they take some of the shackles off, reduced ping playing from the Chicago server,
you can tell when he's not got the, you know, the Rock Lee giant shackles on his, like the ankle weights on him, how much he can do in games.
Tweet it with hashtag NACL.
You've got to do that, because Masu is looked good in this series. Like, both games have been really good from him, and we can continue to see that. The damage he's outputting, his positioning to make sure that the Alistar couldn't get on top of him, so they can rotate around, even with Bajani getting on the Keatong. Just there's too much damage. Masu is so gargantuan in this game, this series, without having to worry about that 150 ping.
That's a tragic one. Bajani pretty close to picking up Keatong, not able to actually do it, and so yeah, it is a really exciting opportunity for Masu to kind of prove themselves. It also, like, I feel like this has been one of the better series from FlyQuest Challengers for actually making some of these plans. As Philip, he's just gonna hello,
how are you doing? Is this your jungle? I don't know. I kind of want some.
Thumbs down coming through. So
that's not the B-mote, though. That's not the B-mote.
Not the B-mote.
That's not the Cubby meta that happened yesterday.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of curious then, where you're expecting FlyQuest to kind of end up, right? Because it is definitely a team that a lot of people are excited about.
You're asking me this instead of me asking you this.
Well, because I know what my opinion is. I don't know what your opinion is.
I like FlyQuest. I always have a soft spot for FlyQuest, a younger team. And even if they do have some mistakes, you know, that you have when you have such a young, talented team, we see their power. We see their mechanics, how they play around the map, and how when they get ahead, it is suffocating for anybody to have to go against. So I put them probably a top 6 team personally.
Top 6? That's bold. I mean, I was trying to force you to have opinions like last year. You know, have ideas of where you were expecting people to shake out. That's pretty bold, I think.
It is. It is bold.
I would be pretty confident putting them in top 8. Right. I definitely can think of a couple of teams that, let's see, Dignitas, Team Liquid, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and then Cincinnati Fear, and I think Wildcard.
Oh, you're changing your mind on Cincinnati Fear now. You're putting them in the top 8.
I think they're top 8.
Okay,
but
okay.
People are, like, riding on this team as, like, these guys are the #1 team, and currently, at the beginning of the day, they were ranked #1, but we will see as they still have a lot.
Let's talk about that later. Let's talk about that later.
With FlyQuest, I think they're going to be shaking out towards the middle, and I think that this is a team that we can see explosive growth as they decide who their shot caller really is, right? We have been seeing that so far it's been a lot of fairly reactive play coming out from the team as a 4-man potential dive comes through.
I still like this from CLG Faith. The game is over. They are 12K behind. Yet they are still looking for angles to make something happen. And this is what I want to see out of provisional teams. Even though, you know, things have completely gone haywire. There is no recovering from this game. You're still learning. It is always about trying to see what kind of plays you can make work, what angles you can look for so you can grow for the next series. You are a team facing off against a team that has had more time in this exact same environment.
Yeah.
With looking at FlyQuest, we talk about how young they are, but UG, Philip, Spyrex, they've already been here. for a year, and now they can flex that muscle over CLG Fate inside of their base. This should be a clean ace, unless of course we see some fancy plays from CLG Fate, but with the inhibitors being taken, NXI dancing with Philip, it's pretty much an answer of like, yeah, we know what's happening. This game, it's been over for a while. Philip is just giving the thumbs down. He's alive, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Keaton was the only one who was trying to chase him, had no mana, wasn't able to run them down. I don't think the game ends here, because that's enough HP, enough mana that's been taken off that FlyQuest will go back and actually pick up the dragon. But it's definitely a position where, you know, we've said it a couple times, this game should be over fairly shortly.
Okay, wait. I'm going to interrupt you, because I know you're going to make something, like, at some point, but I want to bring it up. Axeman, tweet out, how you feeling? How you feeling, bud?
Yeah, how is Axeman feeling? 100,000 points on FlyQuest Game 1, 130,000 games on CLG Faith
How's it feeling right now? Probably not feeling too good, I would imagine.
Or Axe. Spyrex?
Spyrex is also very fed, and I think can just fight this one.
I mean, with no ultimate, kill pressure is tough.
Yeah, that was no kill pressure and still chunking out Sketch, so... Yeah. And now the Baron didn't take it. It's pretty much the icing on the cake. This is just a nice early game. This is nice cleanup from game 1 to game 2 from FlyQuest Challengers. Yeah. And going back to the conversation you were talking about, this is kind of why I look at FlyQuest Challengers as being a top 6 team, because they are quick to learn and adapt. They're quick to figure out their mistakes and try to retool how they're going to look at the almost same composition going from game to game. True.
And again, like, the top half wanted to play together. The Masu plus Keaton is a big opportunity for them as Spyrex goes.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Aaron. We saw that, and now diving back further, just getting everybody, bouncing them around right at their fountain. Do they go for the full-on dive? They're just waiting for minions at this point. Yuji was taking Nexus turrets. That's the only reason he fell. I think he took like 5 shots there just because he was trying to make sure they can commit to such a greedy dive.
Ever see that comics like, oh, hello, super friends. We have heart, we have spirit, we have incredible violence. That's what it feels like.
Yes. That is literally what this game is.
That's what FlyQuest has at this point. You know, we have the power of friendship and the really large Masus. They go legendary. The game should be ending here. Just over 22 minutes coming out for FlyQuest. They find a clean 2-0 going to CLGF.
They've had the KDAs. Hold on. They could have the KDAs first.
Pad.
All right, bye, Sketch. And looking for the dive. Serenok's low. Okay, no, they're indeed the game. Masu and Philip are like, yeah, we're done. All right, let's end the game. 2-0. Well done.
So, FlyQuest, again, you know, improving towards the top half of the standings. I started today 6-4. Now they are 8-4, tying up with some of our bigger performers, right? Like Team Liquid, 1 game behind Cincinnati Fear, and still putting them ahead of teams like Cloud9 and Wildcard.
I mean, good performance from FlyQuest. Game 1 was a little rocky in the early game, but we see the power of a team that has been together for a little bit more time, that has a bit more of the infrastructure and how they can group together, even at a deficit, say, we got to make this play, we got to look for that angle. We still have this game pretty easily, execute upon the plan, done and dusted. And then game 2, what happens when one of those challenger teams gets ahead?
Yeah, it's not pretty, shall we say. But that was a good performance coming out from FlyQuest Challengers. Looking forward to how much they have left to do in the rest of the season, because again, this is a team that can have explosive growth if one of their players figures out how to be the team captain and really give them control over the map.
Well, I'm really curious to see CLG Faith's future, pivoting over to there, because with Aaron and Sketch now, the roster's essentially completed. Actually having Sketch in where he's supposed to be, getting more practice over the next couple scrims, maybe the next 2 weeks, to see where CLG Faith actually will eventually land, because it's been a difficult start when you have these adaptations that you have to make. You have to substitute your support into the marksman for some time and then split up scrims to make it difficult. But after this game, we got to hear from FlyQuest Challengers. We got to hear from Mazel. So make sure you stay tuned after the break, because there will be an interview with them.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I am joined by Keetong, the FlyQuest Challengers support off a devastating win over CLG Faith. Now, it's been a long weekend. It's going to be a long weekend for you guys. Second series of 3 that you're playing, so I just want to check in with you. How are you doing? How's the squad feeling? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I mean, we're all refreshed, ready to just continue playing. A lot of games ahead of us, but we're doing well, and that's what's really important at the end of the day.
What's motivating you guys for this long weekend? A special dinner at the end? Are you guys like going out and like going on walks or anything?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had an early game as well, so we went on like a little team walk afterwards.
Nice.
But yeah, at the next off day, I think we're planning to have a little dinner together. So that's always something to look forward to.
I love that. That's always such an important part of the team building aspect. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I want to talk about the big importance here. Off the back, some breakneck performances between you two. Working with Masu, working with a newer player as well as a player that's not there with you in person. How's that been for you as the duo?
Well, first of all, I think he's just been really impressive as a player. And really, as much as he learns a lot from us, the 4 of us here in LA, we learn a lot from him, and honestly, he's beginning to find his voice on the team and really take the initiative to lead us, even in games.
That's really incredible to hear, actually, especially from distance. But I got to talk about that distance. There's been all the conversation of ping. We've seen the screenshots. What is that like as that duo playing with somebody that isn't in person with you, but as well as having to deal with some of those ping issues that I know weren't there today?
Sometimes it is hard. I mean, 120 ping versus everyone else on like 4 ping. It's just something you expect. Like, he can't play the most mechanically sound, but at the end of the day, he performs when he needs to, and honestly, like, we're doing really well, and I'm really like proud of him and proud of us as a team.
The play that sticks out to me the most, his Varus has been incredible, but I just remember it was a Varus versus Callista, I think, first week or something. You're just literally watching the auto attacks, like slow motion, walking around while Callista's jumping in circles. But you also said today, and we found out that obviously you're playing on the Chicago server. So I know beforehand you were saying it's something you guys were willing to do to make it a little bit easier on him, and it definitely paid off. So what was that kind of process like?
Well, at first we were down to just play on LA servers again, but Masu he stepped up and said we should just go Chicago. I mean, even for the enemy team, it's better for them. We were just like, sure, you know, because there were days when we wanted to go Chicago server, but then the other team would refuse and go LA. So at the end of the day, I think it works out for both teams, but I'm happy that Masu got to take the spotlight for today.
Yeah, it was really nice. Well, I do want to focus on you a little bit more personally in the support role. What are you trying to work on most this split? And so far, what have you been kind of dealing with?
Well, for me, I just want to, I guess, take the spotlight and just show my skills to the NACL and honestly just step up as a player. Everyone knows me from solo queue, but I want to take like the next level, the next jump, and just prove myself that I can do well in the league.
And how do you feel like you fit into the strengths of FlyQuest Challengers this year?
I mean, I work well with everyone, and I've already established relationships with these players even before joining this team. So it's really fluid, me coming in and stepping in to play with them, and I'm learning a lot from them. They're learning things from me as well, so it works well.
I want to talk about that friendship though, because I've said it on cast before. The power of friendship is strong with this squad. I did hear from some background that you guys obviously had those pre-built friendships. Tell me about that and how that's been working and bonding with the team and helping out a little bit.
Yeah, well, I've known Philip the longest on the team. We met way back when I was in like high school, and ever since then we've been talking, been playing. We even played on amateur teams together way back then, and now we're playing in academy. But as for Yuji and Jalal, I know them mostly from solo queue, and we used to talk on and off back then. But having that relationship already built, it helps just getting used to playing with each other on a competitive level, because everyone knows competitive is a totally different level from solo queue. So making the jump was really easy for me.
That's great to hear that some of that cohesion's already built there. Well, I don't want to hold you too much longer, Keep talking about. I love talking to you. Do you have anybody to shout out? Anybody you want to talk about before we let you go?
Shout out to, I have to give the biggest shout out to FlyQuest for giving me the opportunity. But special shout out to Diana. She's watched. I am sure she's watching. Also, shout out to Money Sign Eric. He's a funny guy on YouTube that I love watching. That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Keaton. We will talk to you soon, I hope, and it was a pleasure getting to chat with you a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and send it to a little break here while we get ready for our final series of the day here in week 3, day number 2. We'll be back.